Okay, so you guys, I've been going down this rabbit hole, like a serious deep dive, can't sleep at night kind of rabbit hole, and it's all about these that happen, these tiny little moments that we probably all just brush off. But what if they're not random? What if there's like a whole secret language happening right in front of our faces, especially with women? It's wild. She smiled. But was it just polite or a silent test? Psychology hides answers in plain sight. And honestly, it's kind of freaking me out, but in like a fascinating way, you know? I started noticing these patterns, these little psychological breadcrumbs, I guess. And the more I looked, the more I was like, wait a minute, is this like it's not about manipulation in a bad way, not always, but more like subconscious programming, like things women might do without even realizing the full psychological weight behind them. It's like their brains are wired to send out these subtle signals, these tests, and we're all just missing them. Or maybe we're picking up on them, but we don't know. We feel a certain way. So today, we're going to get into it. We're going to explore 3 psychological, let's call them maneuvers, that women might use, maybe completely unknowingly. And I'm not saying every woman does this or that it's always intentional, but the psychology behind it is like, it's going to make you rethink every interaction and every glance, every pause. So grab your tinfoil hats or, just a coffee, and let's get into the weird, unsettling, and totally mind-blowing world of unspoken female psychology. This is going to be intense. Okay, so let's start with something that seems so simple, right? Eye contact, we all do it. It's how we connect, how we show we're listening. Or is it? Because what if I told you that sometimes, especially with women, that lingering gaze, that extended eye contact isn't just about being friendly or secretly into you? What if it's something else entirely, something more primal? I was reading these studies and it's like my mind was blown. They talk about how in the animal kingdom, direct and prolonged eye contact is often a display of dominance, a challenge, a way of establishing who's in charge without even saying a word. And then I thought, wait, do humans do that too? And the answer seems to be, yeah, kind of. It's like this subconscious echo of our evolutionary past. You're in a group, maybe at a party, or even just like a coffee shop, and you notice her looking at you, not just a glance, but like a prolonged gaze. Your first instinct might be, oh, she's interested. And hey, maybe she is. But what if on a deeper, more subconscious level, her brain is also doing this little status check, this little assertion of presence, of power almost? It's not necessarily aggressive, not in a scary way, but it's like a subtle way of saying, I see you, and I'm not intimidated, I'm here. I'm a factor. It's fascinating because it's so often misinterpreted. We're so conditioned to think eye contact, especially from a woman, means one or two things, usually romantic or friendly, but the psychology suggests a much more complex layer. And it's not even something she's probably doing in that specific, calculated way. It's more like an instinct, a deeply ingrained social tool that helps navigate hierarchies. You know how sometimes you just feel someone's presence in a room? Even if they're quiet, eye contact, and the way it's used, can be a huge part of that. It's like an invisible force field. It's a very subtle, very powerful signal. And the crazy part is we all respond to it. Even if we can't articulate why, we feel the difference between a fleeting glance and a more intentional gaze. It registers somewhere deep in our brains. It's like our social radar picking up on these nuanced signals. It's not just about seeing. It's about being seen and how that interaction is framed by the eyes. So the next time you experience that prolonged eye contact, just pause for a second. Don't just jump to conclusions. Think about the context. Think about the dynamic. Is it purely attraction, or is there a subtle undercurrent of something else, a quiet assertion of self, a subconscious establishment of her place in that social moment? It's a little unsettling to think about how much is happening beneath the surface. It's like we're all playing this intricate social game, and eye contact is one of the key pieces on the board. And women, perhaps through societal conditioning or just innate intuition, might be using it in ways that are far more sophisticated than we give them credit for. All right, let's move on to something that I know we've all obsessed over at some point: texting. Specifically the dreaded, or maybe not so dreaded, delayed response. You send a message, you see those 3 little dots, or worse, you see read, and then nothing. Silence for minutes, hours, maybe even a whole day. And our minds just go into overdrive, right? What did I say? Is she mad? Is she busy? Did her phone fall into a black hole? We come up with a million scenarios, but what if sometimes that delay isn't just an accident or her being genuinely swamped? What if it's a psychological play, a subtle, maybe even subconscious value test? I stumbled upon this idea and it was like, oh my God, it kind of makes a terrifying amount of sense. Think about it. In our instant gratification world, a deliberate pause can actually create a sense of anticipation of higher value. It's like that old saying, absence makes the heart grow fonder, but like in microdoses applied to digital communication. It's not necessarily a malicious thing or a calculated game she's playing to mess with your head, though let's be real, sometimes it might be. But often it could be this deeply ingrained psychological mechanism. By not responding immediately, she might be subconsciously signaling that her time is valuable, that she has other things going on, that she's not just sitting by the phone waiting for your message. And what does that do to us, the sender? It can, weirdly enough, increase our perceived value of her and her response. If something is scarce or harder to get, our brains are wired to want it more. It's basic psychology, so that delay, whether it's 5 minutes or 5 hours, can subtly shift the dynamic. It's like she's mirroring back a test of how much value attention. It's a bit like, imagine a store. If everything is always available, always on sale, you might not feel that urgent need to buy. But if there's a limited stock, a special release, suddenly everyone wants it. That delayed response can, in a weird way, create that same sense of limited availability for her attention. It's so sneaky, but also kind of brilliant if it's happening on that deep subconscious level. Now, I know what some of you are thinking, Shane. Sometimes people are just genuinely busy, and yes, absolutely. 100%. Life happens, work happens, bad reception happens, but we're talking about patterns here, about that might be at play even when she's consciously trying to be strategic. It could be an intuitive thing. It's like her subconscious knows that a little bit of space, a little bit of waiting, can actually pique interest more than instant, constant availability. It creates a moment for you to wonder, to think about it, to anticipate. And that anticipation, that's a powerful psychological tool. It builds investment. I started thinking about my own texting habits and how I react when someone takes a while to reply. There's that initial, ugh, come on. But then, if I'm being honest, when the reply comes, there's a little extra something. A little more relief, a little more focus on what they said. It's like the wait amplified its importance. And women, who are often, stereotypically I know, but bear with me, seen as more attuned to social and emotional nuances, might just have a more natural, intuitive grasp of this dynamic. It's not about playing hard to get in that old-fashioned, cheesy way. It's more subtle. It's about managing perceived value and attention in a world saturated with constant communication. It's like a psychological mirror. By the taking her time, she's subtly prompting you to consider her value. If you get antsy, if you double text, if you freak out, well, what does that say about your own perceived value and patience? Chapter 3. The unspoken territory, body angles, bags, and hidden boundaries. Okay, so we've talked about eyes, we've talked about texts. Now let's get into something even more physical, but still super subtle. Body language. Specifically, the way women might use their body angles, the distance they keep, and where they place their stuff, like a handbag, to communicate psychological boundaries or openness. And again, this is often happening on a totally subconscious level. It's like their bodies are having a whole conversation that we're not even tuned into. You know how you just get a vibe from someone? A lot of that is coming from these tiny nonverbal cues. And women, perhaps because they've historically had to be more aware of personal space and safety, might be particularly skilled at sending and reading these signals. Think about where she places her bag. It sounds so trivial, right? Like, Shane, it's just a bag. But what if it's not? What if, when she puts her purse on the chair between you or on her lap facing you, it's creating a subtle, almost invisible barrier. It's not a conscious, I'm building a wall moment, but it can be a subconscious way of managing space and comfort levels. Conversely, if the bag is off to the side or on the floor and her posture is open and angled towards you, that's sending a completely different set of signals. It's like an unspoken invitation, or at least an indication of feeling more relaxed and open in your presence. These aren't just random placements, they can be reflections of her internal state. And then there's the angle of her body, especially her feet and torso. This is a classic in body language studies, but I feel like we forget how powerful it is. If someone is talking to you, but their feet and body are angled towards the door or away from you, what is their subconscious saying? It's like their body knows where it wants to go, even if their mouth is saying polite things. With women, this can be a really important indicator of their comfort and interest. If she's angled towards you, leaning in slightly, making good eye contact, tying back to our first point, those are generally signs of engagement, of openness. But if she's angled away, even slightly, or creating distance, her body might be signaling a desire for more space, or a lack of deep engagement, regardless of the words being spoken. It's like her personal space is a bubble, And she's constantly, subconsciously managing its perimeter. The way she positions herself, the subtle shifts in her posture, the placement of her belongings. These are all tools in that management process. It's a silent dance of proximity and distance, of openness and guardedness. And it's not about being overly analytical and dissecting every tiny movement, because that would be exhausting and probably creepy. But it's about being aware that there's this whole other layer of communication happening. It's about understanding that polite conversation doesn't always equal genuine interest or complete comfort. The body often tells a truer story. I started thinking about social gatherings, like parties, or even just waiting in line for coffee. You see these little tableaus playing out all the time. The woman who subtly uses her friend as a buffer, or the one who creates a little fortress around herself with her coat and bag. These aren't necessarily conscious decisions to be closed off, but rather subconscious strategies for navigating social environments comfortably. And the distance thing, proxemics, I think it's called, that's huge. How close does she stand or sit? Does she lean away if you lean in? Does she maintain a certain gap? These aren't accidental. They're deeply ingrained responses related to personal comfort, cultural norms, and the specific dynamic of the interaction. It's like an invisible fence that communicates her comfort zone. It's fascinating because it's so instinctual. Okay, so my brain officially hurts, like in a good way. I think we've gone through eye contact, delayed text, body language, and it's like, are women secretly psychological ninjas, or, and this is maybe even weirder, are we just subconsciously sending and receiving these insane signals all the time without even realizing it? It's a lot to take in, you guys. It makes me look at every single interaction now and be like, wait, what's happening here? It's not about being paranoid or trying to like decode every woman you meet. That's not the point. And honestly, that sounds exhausting. But it's about realizing that there's this whole other layer to communication, this subconscious world of signals and tests and psychological stuff. And maybe, just maybe, being a little more aware of it can help us connect on a deeper level, or at least understand each other a bit better. Or maybe it just makes everything more confusing. I don't know. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. Have you noticed these things? Do you think I'm like totally overthinking it? Or is there something to this? Because honestly, the more I learn about psychology, the more I realize we're all just these complicated, weird, fascinating creatures trying to figure each other out. And maybe these tricks, if you can even call them that, are just part of the very human, very complex dance we all do. It's wild. Anyway, thanks for going down this rabbit hole. And stay weird, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.